Good afternoon and welcome back. This is US Home Talk. We are live every Wednesday at noon and on demand at ushometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcasts. We are your hosts, Marcus Walgrave with the South Dakota Home Team, powered by Hague Realtors, Jason Walgrave with Walgrave Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Advantage Plus, and Mike Overson with Luminate Bank. We'll be taking all your questions during today's show, anything and everything real estate. Our call-in number is 612-234-7585. Again, that's 612-234-7585. Or you can leave us a message in the comments section on Facebook, and we will address those questions. So anything and everything real estate is what we focus on here at US Home Talk. Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
We're doing fantastic. I mean, I'm excited about the pre-show conversation about growing sweet mustaches for the summer.
Yep. I'm excited too. I'm starting now. Maybe next week. Maybe at the end of this week, I just take this off and then leave it.
Oh yeah.
Late.
This is what I look like. What do you think?
It's amazing.
Ooh,
Does it look good?
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
It does.
Jeez.
It does.
Let's see that again. Ooh.
Marcus, you had a pretty sweet mustache last November when we all went out to Vegas together.
I try to, pull it out once in a while.
We're rocking the mustache. You had the nice little, and the ends, it came down real nice. It was real tapered nice.
There's a time and place, for the mustache, and that seemed like a good one. So
Yeah.
I like it. I'm down. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it
next
plays out.
We'll see next week on the show and see if Marcus has started it yet or not.
I'm growing it right now as we speak. It's
I could see it coming in. It's nice. It's
yeah.
doing well.
By the end of the show, you'll have a full mustache.
Yeah, that'd be strange. Like was it Claws with Tim Allen? Good movie. Good movie.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, no, we're not talking about mustaches for today's show, even though that is what we talked about before the show. What we are going to be talking about today's topic is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So there's a lot in there, as always, with these bills that get pushed through, and hundreds and thousands of pages. However, since this is a real estate show, we are going to kind of focus on the parts that are very positive when it comes to real estate. So, came across a great article that the National Association of Realtors put out about a couple weeks ago. And they just kind of highlighted a lot of the things that are really favorable for real estate. If you're out there in the real estate world, whether you're a buyer, seller, investor, owner, developer, contractor, subcontractor, whatever it might be, if you're in the real estate world, you will know that there's just some needed relief in there, and it really kind of from all aspects of the real estate industry, and it seems like this bill, mind you, that it is draft. It's the first draft, and a lot of changes I'm sure are going to come about it, but it just, there's a lot of really good positive things when it comes to real estate. So have you guys had a chance to read up on any of it? I know it's all over the news. But have you guys seen anything that seemed to be attractive that you think for real estate?
I actually haven't read it. I haven't looked too much into it. I knew it was coming, and so when I saw your topic today, Marcus, I was excited to hear more about it.
Samesies.
Yes.
You said you were going to have a pop quiz today, and I didn't read any of the material, so I'm going to be lost at the old pop quiz.
No pop quiz. I don't want to do that to you guys. So
Answer C.
We'll
See
keep
all the way
it.
down.
We'll keep
See
it
all the way down.
Yeah, that's a little ACT move. I there was a section I maybe stayed up a little too late the night before and got a little tired. Kind of dozed off on it and got the what is it, like the 1 minute warning.
You dozed off when you were taking it?
I did doze off on it. It's a Saturday morning test and it's, early, and the cafeteria got warm. It was hot in there. I was a little tired, not gonna lie, and just kind of closed my eyes a little bit and got startled when I got the warning. So it was a C. So unfortunately, I didn't do too well in that part of it, but it happens.
Whatever. Passed.
Whatever.
You made it.
All right, let's jump into this article by the NAR. Republicans on the House Ways and Means Committee released the full draft text of their portion of the tax reform legislation Monday afternoon, delivering significant wins for the real estate sector and reinforcing provisions long championed by the National Association of Realtors. So that's something that, just to kind of keep in mind, guys, the value of working with a real estate professional that is a member of the National Association of Realtors. That is one of the main driving points of what NAR does, is they are championing for the homeowners and real estate owners out there to make sure that bills and laws and rules and regulations are put in force that benefit them, not anybody else. It's to benefit the real estate owner. So they do a lot of lobbying and speaking with legislators in terms of saying, hey, this is what we're hearing. And Jason and Mike, I know you guys hear this all the time, right? Our customers and our clients, they're telling us what's going on in their world, their personal world. They're letting us know, hey, this is our limitations, or this is our struggles. These are our hurdles. We hear it all the time. We're able to pass on that information, and get it over to the legislators, in the area, and local, state, and national. So just to try to jump into this and to kind of get some more information out there, NAR's advocacy team successfully secured its top 5 tax priorities in the draft bill, including an enhanced small business tax reduction, a strengthened state and local tax deduction, SALT, protections for the mortgage interest deduction, MID, and the bill also makes the current lower individual tax rates permanent and increases the child tax credit, moves that could help increase home ownership access for more American families. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. But we'll kind of dive into it, and we'll kind of go into a little bit more details on each of these top 5 NAR tax priorities. Tax priorities that NAR was really focusing on, saying, hey guys, legislators, this is what we feel needs to be emphasized with this draft. And so, number 1, qualified business income deduction, section 199A. The draft bill retains, makes permanent, and increases QBI deduction from 20% to 23%. This deduction benefits more than 90% of NAR members who are classified as independent contractors or small business owners. A big misconception out there, right, Jason? Us licensed realtors, we are independent contractors. We are not an employee of a real estate brokerage. I guess, and so that's something that we file 1099s. We are small business owners, so that's a big win there. 83% of voters support the 20% tax deduction for independent contractors and small businesses making less than $400,000 a year, according to the NAR's recent national poll. So the qualified business income deduction, section 199A, that was one of the top priorities, and it got put in there. So a good win there. The next one is the state and local tax deduction, SALT. The SALT deduction cap is tripled from $10,000 to $30,000 for households earning under $400,000. However, the bill does not eliminate the current law marriage penalty, thus single filers and married couple filing a joint return both can deduct a maximum of $30,000 in state and local taxes. That's a big jump. When we're going from $10,000 to $30,000 for households earning under $400,000, massive. I mean, you talk about like small business owners, right? We're not talking about individuals who have multi-million dollar earnings. If you're a small business owner, you're probably in that territory. You might be bringing in $200,000-$300,000. You may be on the cusp of growing your business and getting it to that next level that it needs to be. But when you can, have another $20,000 in tax deductions, I mean, talk about a game changer, whether that's improvement in office equipment, maybe increasing, current employee staff salary to retain employees. So, that's a lot of money there. The individual tax rates. The current lower individual tax rates are made permanent and indexed for inflation, aiding taxpayers in improving affordability for prospective home buyers. 86% of voters supported the lowered income tax rates for individuals and married couples. So individual tax rates, that's obviously, always good when you can lower that. I like lower taxes. I don't know
I
about
like
you
lower
guys.
taxes.
Well,
I do.
So my question is here, it says 86% of voters support the lowered income tax rates. Who's the 14% not supporting lower taxes? Like, who actually wants higher taxes? Who's the 14%? Like, who would, that's what's, why isn't that number like 99%?
Evan's got a question.
No, I'm saying I support higher taxes. This is the main problem and criticism of a bill like this is that it increases the funding gap of the government. The deficit's going to get even worse with this. So
But I
we're
think
not paying for what we're getting.
what I think that they can lower the tax rates is because they're obviously trying to right the ship as far as government spending goes. So on what is it, Doge? Is that what it is? Doja?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? So what they're trying to do there, I think they're saying, look, we're saving the money over here. We're spending less over here, which means we can collect less over here. Hopefully that's what the thought is, and hopefully that's exactly what happens. So I'm guessing that's exactly why they can lower the tax individual tax rates.
Well, Musk came out and said that this bill directly undermines everything that he's been trying to do at Doge. So I don't think
really?
that's what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
The projection for this is that it will increase the deficit by $600 billion. So I don't know. I like lower taxes in the sense that I like when my budget is, more of my dollars are going to me, but I also get concerned when lower taxes are prioritized over balancing things out.
Tariffs is also part of the equation to offset that, I would imagine, as well. And I don't think that's obviously that's not in this bill here, the tariff stuff. But anyway, there's just a lot of moving parts on that, and a lot of it I don't understand. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand all the different moving parts. If I move this piece over here, how does it affect this piece down here?
Right.
It's kind of like a Rubik's Cube, to be honest with you. So that's why people much smarter than myself hopefully will take the reins here and make it right for us.
Yeah, I think when you kind of look at the situation with everything, right? You try one thing, see how it plays out, and see what the outcome is. And so maybe what we have been currently doing didn't really seem to be the answer. So they're kind of proposing an alternative solution to that. So time always tells whether something is useful or successful. In the meantime, it's just kind of an opinion on whether you think it will work or it won't work. So the next one is the mortgage interest deduction, MID. The draft preserves and makes permanent the MID at its current level, maintaining a key tax benefit for homeowners and supporting housing market stability. There had been concern MID might be reduced or eliminated as a budget offset. So that's the mortgage interest deduction. That's a hot topic as well when it comes to real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of people in this country that would not have a mortgage if the mortgage interest deduction was not there, right? Their financial planner is saying, look, that's your biggest deduction that you're going to get to help offset some of your income. So it's actually better for you to take out a mortgage versus paying cash for that particular house. And I know that it's capped. It's capped at, I believe, $750. So you can write off the mortgage interest that you pay up to $750,000 of loan amounts. And then anything above and beyond that is not deductible.
Yeah, so it looks like they're looking to preserve the draft preserves and makes permanent at its current level. So I think just kind of again encouraging that benefit to stay. So business, SALT, and 1031 like exchanges. The draft bill protects Section 1031 like exchanges, which are often regarded as a tax loophole. I mean, this is one of the, I hear this all the time, coming from NAR, just this idea of like, hey, we got to get rid of the 1031 exchange. And I mean, when you work with investors and individuals who are looking to, start a real estate portfolio or build their wealth, I mean, this allows them to continue to keep things moving and keep things active, instead of being in a sense stuck on it, or simply like, I can't sell this because I'm going to take such a hit on it on the tax side of it. So I'm forced to keep this estate, this real estate piece that I have. 1031 like exchanges are very valuable when it comes to the investors out there.
I agree. Yeah, it's a huge tool, and it keeps investors, buying and selling properties and moving them. So very happy that's in there.
Yeah, and it's not like they don't ever pay taxes on it. It's just a way to, I guess, push your tax bill down the road, really is what it is. You know what I mean? But eventually, I mean, can you do it forever and not pay taxes on there? So if you keep 1031 exchanging properties and get all the way to the end and then you pass away, I would imagine that once you pass away, depending on who those properties go to, then the taxes are probably due on that particular property at that point.
Nope.
No?
No. That's how you get out of paying the taxes, Mike, is you die.
Well, unless they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah. If it surpasses the inheritance tax, you're right. But
which I think is also in this bill, that they're upping the inheritance tax cutoff to 15 million. I think I just read.
Evan, you're right. I think it was like 13.5. And so they pushed that up to 15 million, and that was an inflation adjustment, right? Yeah, I think that there is some of those key points in there that just simply like, hey, these numbers aren't supporting in today's inflation and what has happened over the last couple of years. We have to adjust them.
I know, Marcus. $13 million just ain't what it used to be.
That's a big number.
What, bro?
That's a big number. 13 million.
Yeah.
So that is a big number.
But Mike,
it is a big number.
To further explain so let's say someone's got an investment property. Maybe it's an 8-unit apartment building. They've owned it for many, many years. They've taken advantage of the interest deduction, and they've depreciated the property. So if they sell that property just on the open market, of course they've got capital gains tax to pay, and they've got recapture tax to pay from the depreciation that they benefited from over all those years. But if that person dies and that property goes to one of their heirs or one of their children, for example, that appreciation resets. So it completely eliminates the recapture task when it goes on to an heir, and then they get to reset it. And if they want to take advantage of the depreciation benefit, they can. So,
wow,
and
that's a nice deal.
Well, it's a nice deal.
But
for the heir.
Well, and for the current homeowner too, you didn't pay any taxes on it along the way.
Yes.
But like I mean, the way I look at a 1031 exchange, right? I mean, if your financial advisor sells your Microsoft stock and takes all the proceeds from the sale and purchases Tesla stock, and so just went from one stock to the other. There wasn't any selling and then retaining the proceeds of the sale. It just went from one stock to the other. Like, is that taxed? No, it isn't. You're allowed to do that. So why can't an investor they may not have a stock portfolio. Maybe there is a real estate portfolio. Well, they should be able to do a similar thing where like I don't really want my single family dwelling rental portfolio. I want to convert that into a commercial rental portfolio. Mm-hmm. Like an investor should be able to do a similar, in my opinion, a similar move as if somebody who has stocks and just wanting to switch their stock from one stock to the other.
I agree 100%, Marcus. I mean, it's one thing if you're cashing out, you're cashing out, and then you pay the taxes on it. But if you're just moving, it's the same thing in my mind, moving from stock to stock or from real estate to real estate. I think that benefit should be there for real estate investors, the same as stock investors.
Additional positive tax provisions for real estate. The child tax credit increased to $2,500. Love this. Maybe I should start having more kids. Then get some more tax reductions there. Temporarily raises the child tax credit through 2028, and then indexes it for inflation starting in 2029. Cool. I'm not gonna lie. Feel kind of guilty saying this out loud. I do have a CPA, so maybe that's my excuse. What is it right now? The child tax credit, is it $1,500?
It is $2,000.
It is $2,000.
2,000 sounds correct. Yeah,
it's $2,000. The bill changes it to $2,500 for the next 4 years. Then it will go back to $2,000 and adjust for inflation.
Yeah, so then it indexes it for inflation. Yeah, which I'm sure will probably be higher than $2,500 by that time. I guess we'll see. Time will tell. The child tax credit supports families and could help with the housing affordability. I think that there's some truth to that. I tell you what, though, I mean, like Evan's joke there. The permanent estate and gift tax threshold set at $15 million. I think it was like 13 point. I want to say it was like 13.5 or something like that. The $500 that I'm gonna on per child doesn't feel very grand when the more the wealthier are looking at millions. So, but
it all helps.
Yep, it does help.
We'll take a win when we can get it.
Yeah.
Oh, but before we get too late in the show, should we do the legal minute?
This is Jeff O'Brien,
definitely do
attorney
the
with
legal
Hush
minute.
Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute. To recover funds from a bankruptcy estate, a proof of claim will generally be required. A proof of claim is a written statement setting out the creditor's claim. It should conform to the form used by the local bankruptcy court. Proof of any perfected security interest must be provided with the proof of claim. If the claim is based on a writing, a duplicate shall be filed with the proof of claim. Different chapters treat filing differently. In a Chapter 11 case, a proof of claim is deemed filed for any claim that appears in the schedules, except a claim or interest that is scheduled that is disputed, contingent, or unliquidated. In a Chapter 11, if you agree that your claim is just as the debtor stated it, you do not need to file a claim. In a Chapter 13, you can only file proofs of claim for taxes that become payable while the case is pending or for consumer debt that arises after the date of the order for relief. In a Chapter 7, you always need to file a proof of claim when given notice that there are assets available to distribute. A proof of claim is timely filed if it is filed no later than 90 days after the first date set for the meeting of creditors. It is always wise to check the bankruptcy court docket to determine a proof of claim deadline. This is Jeff O'Brien, attorney with Hush Blackwell with the U.S. Home Talk Legal Minute.
Good stuff, Jeff.
Love it. Thank you, Jeff. Yep. Yeah, most definitely. Thank you for that. Okay, on to a couple more talking points here. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act might be able to provide some positive to the real estate. The next one is that there's no top tax rate increase. The proposed 39.6% top rate was removed from the bill. Definitely doesn't pertain to me. So, maybe for individuals out there who do it. But again, I think when we start looking at that and you look at like, the government, our government, if I'm not mistaken here, their big tax revenue collector is from growing small businesses, small businesses that are trying to become medium-sized businesses. I mean, that is such a driving force of our economy here in the U.S. And so I think with those individuals that might be just so close to creating an incredible company that is worldwide, when you can give those businesses, those growing businesses, some opportunity to, keep more of their dollars and then reinvest it back into their businesses. I believe in it. I think you got to let the businesses kind of keep their money as much as they can, and it's their responsibility as individuals to do good to their community, through nonprofit organizations, things of that nature. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's they have a responsibility to take care of the community that they do business in. So, restoration. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, the next one is the low income housing tax credit. I'm not real familiar with this one. I Googled it. It looks like the low income housing tax credit program is a federal tax incentive that encourages the development and rehabilitation of affordable rental housing. It provides developers with tax credits, which they can sell to investors to offset the costs of building or renovating housing projects for low-income individuals and families. I mean, if Google AI overview is accurate, I mean, I think that's huge. Our affordable housing for low-income individuals is probably the highest, is the most important piece in our real estate. I mean, it's so hard for these individuals to get good housing when they're in these low income situations, individuals and families. So, anytime we can make sure that their house, their home is of a high quality, it is going to improve their life and improve the community's life that they live in. So, big. I think that's a huge one. That's a good one there too. Restoration of big three business tax provisions, full expensing of research and development. It kind of seems like a no-brainer to me. Bonus depreciation and fixes to interest expense deduction limits. So I'm not real familiar with that one either. Immediate expensing for certain industrial structures applies to structures used in manufacturing, refining, agriculture, and related industries. No change to carried interest treatment. And kind of the last one was opportunity zones, renewed with revised incentives to encourage targeted investment, including in rural areas. So opportunity zones, those are big, especially in communities and towns and cities that are growing, to encourage their growth and to bring in the right kind of businesses to allow for healthy growth. So obviously there, again, I can't emphasize it enough, this is simply a first draft. I think it's still first draft. I know this NER article came out on the 12th. I don't think it's gone past the draft.
It passed the House.
Passed the House, yep.
Yeah, it's in the Senate
passed
right
the
now.
House, in the Senate. So I'm sure there's going to be, a lot of good news that's going to come up, while it's in the Senate. See how that plays out. But again, I mean, there's just the real estate industry needs help. Needs some help in certain areas, whether it's again helping the homeowners, the real estate owners, builders, developers, allowing cities to open up maybe some land opportunities that they didn't have before, to create more opportunities for more people is the key. So
Yeah, I think one of the things I want them to look at too, and I think Trump has said that he was going to look into this as well, is just the overall cost to build a house in today's world, right? How much of that cost is like regulations, right? Just paper stuff, inspections, this and that, blah, 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 right? That number's up to almost 30%. By the time you pull permits with the city, right? And you have to get whatever inspections done, and you got to get this and get that. It's like, can you imagine? Let's say we can cut that in half, right? Let's say 30% of a house right now is basically just what needs to be paid to conform to current regulations with whatever inspections there are locally, federally, things like that. What if you can just cut that in half and cut it down to 15%? 15% of the cost of the house goes to that type of stuff. I mean, $500,000 house, you're looking at what? That's what, $65,000
Yeah.
less than
Yeah.
cost for a $500,000 house. I mean, that's a big deal.
That's
I
a
think
big deal. Yeah.
What I read is some of this will reduce those regulations to save on average about $40,000 per new build. That would be based on the average new build cost throughout the U.S. So, that's probably around that 10-ish%, a little bit less. But you save 40 grand on the house, that's a big deal. I mean, that's that's a big deal for home buyers.
Well, yeah, and what triggered me to bring this up was the low income housing tax credit, right? So they want to support affordable housing development. Well, when those developers are putting up apartment buildings for rent, again, let's say you got a 50 unit building you're putting up. I mean, how many millions of dollars is a 50 unit building? And if you cut that cost by 15%, that's going to cut rents per door down.
Yep.
By the same number, right? So it's like if it's going to be $2,000 a door for rent, but if we can cut out 15%, now it's going to be what, $1,850 a door for rents?
Yep.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
I think when we kind of look at some of I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting housing headlines that are going to come up here in the near future. I'm a member of the local Home Builders Association, so I get a chance to get the National Association of Home Builders Communication Newsweek newsletter that comes out. Sometimes it's more than weekly. I think if they have a lot of hot topics, hot headlines, they'll throw it out there. But one thing that I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out here in the upcoming months, if something actually materializes about it. And Mike, I'm sure this is going to be big in your world. Obviously it will be. But one topic I think is going to be interesting is to see what they end up doing with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And as of right now, it's a government controlled housing finance giants, and Trump has kind of made comments multiple times about how this should have gone public years ago. He's talking about it. Politico put an article out recently saying that he's weighing the idea of taking them public, and or that it was public more than 15 years ago. The government seized control of the two companies, and now it looks like he is talking about offering it, weighing it as a public offering. So I think that'll be an interesting topic here if that actually kind of turns into get some steam and moves forward with it, and see how that kind of plays out. So there's going to be some really hot housing headlines that are going to be coming up here in the near future that you'll have to want to keep in touch with.
So,
go ahead, Mike.
As I say, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are huge moneymakers for the government. If you look at like the top businesses that generate the top revenue generating businesses in the U.S., Fannie and Freddie are like in the top 5.
Wow.
Like it's crazy. They're huge moneymakers there, and I'm guessing if they go public, they're probably just seeing that it'll actually, because I think a lot of people will, because of their performance, a lot of people will invest, and buy the stock in Fannie and Freddie and stuff like that, and it'll just make them bigger, and there'll be more money there for the government to divvy out and help offset costs in other areas. So I'm sure that's probably what the play is there, but no doubt about it, they're huge moneymakers. If it goes public, I'm buying stock in them for sure.
Well, interesting you say that, Mike, because Bloomberg put a article out there and just kind of reading a summary of what it was, and it according to this, it says that just Trump making the announcement that he's weighing a public offering of the U.S. mortgage giants, it sent the shares soaring and extending gains this year for hedge funds and other investors to almost $50 billion. So. Ooh. Nice little. You guys gotta love that B word, right?
I mean, do they even make piggy banks big enough to hold $50 billion? Imagine the size of that piggy bank.
It's just ones and zeros now, so I'm sure you can fit it in a little computer chip.
I think it's all cash. I think they're trying to get away from electric currency, and they're just the government wants to just go all cash.
Just
truckloads. Want to print it. But get rid of the penny. Get rid of the penny. No. It'll be as always, guys. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Oh no, it's fine. I was just saying it's just going to be interesting to see what happens here. There's a lot of wheels turning right now. And I think for the most part, I think they're turning in the right direction. They're turning in a good direction. So.
Yeah, you kind of look at it in those first couple years of of a new administration, you see that, right? You see a lot of try to movers and shakers, try to mix things up and do something different. And so we'll see kind of how it all plays out. As our show comes to an end, we want to thank you all for taking your time to tune in live and for your support of US Home Talk. As always, you guys can find our today's show and any of our past shows on our website at ushometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcast. This is Marcus Walgrave, Jason Walgrave, Mike Overson. Have yourself a blessed week.